Hello there and welcome to another video from Change Tips and Tools. So let's carry on with this how-to PowerApps series where we're trying to replicate the resource capacity planning template in Excel in PowerApps, and also then at the end we're going to also add a Power BI dashboard on there as well, so make the two interactive. So that's SharePoint with PowerApps and Power BI. So this is video number 5 and let's carry on where we left off. Let's do this. And there you go. I've now added all the data for the cross-reference data. So scroll down, we can see everything's in there. I've also added all the projects in there in the projects tab, and I can filter this like so. Yeah, that all works. Wonderful. Let me just close that down. The only thing is I want where on here this is only visible when it's not in edit mode. I want the same thing for projects and programs. So this and this icon, if I go onto select them both and do the visible mode, the visible property, sorry, what I'm going to do is I'm just going to do, so this is programs, so if there prog edit, that one, so also do it the opposite way around, so that's going to be if it's true I want it to be false, otherwise I want it to be true. Like so, and then close the bracket. There you go, on the visible mode. So if that's, and there you go. Again, if I just load run, and we do that there, then disappears. Just do undo, it comes back. Wonderful. Let's do the projects as well. Do the same thing. So again, I want to select this, hold down the control key, select the search icon, find the visible property. Again, so if that's going to be their proj edit false, comma true, and there you go. So I've now done that. So the next thing I need to do is, now that we've got the program, we've got the categories, we've got the projects, so let's just check our Excel template. So we've done our categories, our programs, our projects, and we've done the cross-reference. So now we need the skill set. I don't need the type, and then I need to do something around the calendar, and I need to do something around national holidays. Yeah, so skill set I'll do next. This I won't do, I'll just leave it as a leave type list because we're only going to have 2. I'm not going to change that, and then we'll handle these. So let's get back to the Power App, and let's first of all we're going to, so at the moment if we look at our data, we've got categories, programs, projects and cross-reference. So on our SharePoint I'm going to do new, again new list, and let's call this skill sets. Yep, to create, and there it is. I'm not going to do anything with the title. I'm just going to go into the settings of this because I want to make that, so list settings, the cog, list settings, and I just want to make sure title Just want to enforce that unique, enforce unique values behavior. Because the important thing is when we start to build out the Power BI dashboard report, I want to make sure that I do only have unique values in there. Okay, so that's done. Now all I'm going to do is, again, I'm just going to add that as a data source. So again, connectors, want SharePoint. There's the sign-in I've used before, change tips and tools, and there's the skill sets list that we've created, and I'm going to connect to that. Yeah, and go back to my tree view. So I'm going to do exactly what I've done before. Is I'm now going to copy projects, this project's one, and just rename everything and point it to that table like we've done in previous videos. So go check those out, and there'll be a link in the description if you can't find it. So let me just do that. You don't need to watch me doing it again. And there you go. I've now done all those changes. So I duplicated, just like I've done with the programs and projects. I've duplicated the projects and I've just renamed it with a skill. I just replaced everything with skill in there. As you can see in the apps, I created skill set variables like I did with the others. And again, just copied them and just replaced the Xfer example with skill there, as you can see, and made sure that my new var skill new record is created based on the defaults of the skill sets. So that's done there. And again, gallery, just redid all the code and just swapping out what I'd copied, which is the project. So PROJ, swapped that out for the skill and just renamed everything. So this is now ready to go. So let's just run that, and then just make sure I then click on the screen, so it clicks that hidden button, remember, and let's just do play. Obviously there's nothing there. If I go into edit mode and do new, let's do put our skills in there. So we've got project manager, save that, let's do new. And again, I think, when you're doing this, always test that the form behaves the way that you want it to do. So I think it's always good practice to test this stuff. I'm going to do new again. Let's do architect. Save new. We've got architect. We've got SME and PM. Let's just do another two there. So do SME. Save that, and let's do PMO and save that, and there you go. And then if I do that, write that back, everything's written. Filter seems to work. So if I do A, R, so that filters as well. And again, on the Excel template, we limited this. Well, obviously this now can grow as much as you want, really. Anything I'd say within PowerApps, up to 2,000 lines that you can load. Then start getting into the whole delegation thing when you're creating tables, which we won't do for our resourcing. So that's our static data skill sets done. Next, I'm going to create the resource absence types. So, planned leave or unplanned leave. I'm going to create those, but we don't need those in the form because those are going to be pretty static. And then we're going to create our a form to handle our calendar period. So what's the calendar period? And also what are the national holidays. So I'm going to create that next as far as the static data. And then once we've done those, Those are all the static data tables, and then we'll look at navigation. So, okay, so if we go to SharePoint, so I've already created the leave types, and as I said, I've just named them plan leave and unplanned leave for the purposes of this exercise. We're not going to use these in the Power App as in add a form for them, because these are going to be pretty static. Now the one thing I'm going to do here is if I go into list settings, where I have made, you can see the title here. So let me just show you one thing about SharePoint 365 is if I change this here and I do column settings and rename, and let's just call this leave type, yeah, like so, and do save. So you notice it's changed the title. But if I go into the list settings, I go to the cog and do the list settings, you'll notice it's still called title here. Yeah. And if I open that up and I click just OK on that, and I go back to leave types, you'll still notice that it still says leave type. So in effect, all I've done is change the title here, name, to within this view here. The way that I can change that title so that title is almost eradicated is if I go back into list settings, I go to title, and I literally type it in here, leave type. So I've made sure it enforce it as a unique value, and I'm going to click OK. I've made sure it's one word, and now in here it's gone back to title here because it's been renamed, yeah, on the view. But if I go back into list settings, you can now see it's called leave type, yeah. So just want to be aware of, and now you can see it's now flicked back and it's refreshed and picked that up. So just something to watch for. If you go into list settings, you can actually change that title to a more meaningful name. I've left it the same for all my other records because it's just convenient when I'm doing that. Copy, the duplicate, is I don't have to worry about the actual controls picking up the new title, as it were, if that makes sense. So now I want to create another list. I'm going to go back to home on my SharePoint site. So I want the calendar period. So I'm going to do new list, blank list again. I'm going to call this calendar periods. Yep, and do create. So I'm going to leave the title blank. So I'm going to add a column called a date column, which is going to be a date and time. Do next, and I'm going to call this start. I'm not including the time. I don't want the friendly format, and that's just a way the SharePoint interaction is. I don't need a default value in there, and that's fine. So that's all good. I'm going to do save on that one. I'm then going to add another column, which is going to be a date and time. Do next, and I'm going to call this one finish. Ooh. Can't type. And there you go. Finish, date and time. I don't want to include the time, and then I'm going to do save, and I'm going to add that column. So, and that's all I need here. I'm going to do add a record. So my title I'm going to leave blank. As far as my date is concerned, I'm going to set that to, and you can type this in or use the date picker. I'm going to set that to the 1st of the 1st, 2025. And then as far as the finish date, I'm going to set that to the 31st, the 12th, 2025. And just hit save. It's saying error, the date. Now what you're probably seeing here is that enter date here. So obviously my settings on my SharePoint site are, that should be 12/31/2025. I hit save, and there you go. So I'm going to change that on my SharePoint site, and I'll change my date settings because I'm in the UK. So that's month, day, and year, and I can change that setting in my SharePoint settings. But I'm not going to do that because odds are is that you won't have the ability to change that in your SharePoint site. So I'm just going to leave that as is, and let's go. So I've created that. The next thing that I want to create is, in fact, no, I am going to change it. So I'm going to go here. I'm going to go site information. I'm going to go in view all site settings. I'm going to go into my regional settings here. So at the moment, I've got time zone Dublin, Edinburgh. So yeah, GMT. My locale is not English, it's English United Kingdom. And let's see, do okay. Let's go back home. Let's go into my calendar periods. And there you go. It's now set correctly. Yeah. So I've just changed that because it would have confused me being in the UK, because we like to look at it day, month, and year. So I've changed that, and that's how I've changed it in the settings. So if you do have access, that's how you do it. But always ask permission. I'm now going to do another. So go home. I'm going to add another list while I'm here. And this is going to be my national holidays. So I'm just going to call this national holidays. So here in the UK we have bank holidays. Yeah, I'm going to do create. And again, the title, I'll just use it as the description. And I'm going to add one more column here. And let's go down to date and time. Do next. I'm going to call this, I'm going to call it bank holiday. And I'm going to make it one word as well. So that's, yeah. So bank holiday. And again, it's a date and time. Do save. Then what I'm going to do is I'm just going to add one item in here, just so you can see it. So this will be New Year's Day, and bank holiday is going to be 01/01/2025, and do save. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to go into my my settings, and I am going to make sure these are unique. I don't want duplicates of them. So again, I'm going to go into the cog, do the list settings, and on the title, I'm just going to make sure that it enforces unique values and do OK. Tells me to index it and do OK. I'm then going to go to my bank holiday, and again I'm going to say yes, enforce unique values. Everything else is the same. I'm going to do OK, and again it's telling me it needs to index it. Right, those are the last lists that I need to create to complete the overall static data in my Power App. So I'm now back in the apps, and what I'm going to do is I'm going to duplicate the categories screen, because I'm going to use this for my calendar static data. So let's just right click on that and duplicate that screen. Boom, there we go. And let me just rename that as I'm going to call it my holes, I think. Let's call it holes. Rename that screen. Let's put that down to the bottom. Let's go back to our apps and do the on start. So let's expand that. So again, I need to create my variables for my screen. So let's copy this. But before we do that, one thing we haven't done, because it won't work otherwise, is I need to connect I need to connect the data sources. So I'm going to add data, do SharePoint, select my login again, change tips and tools training. So I want the calendar periods, and I don't need the leave types, but I want the national holidays. So I'm going to select those two and do connect. And there you go, I've now added them. And then I'm going to go back to my tree view. I'm in the OnStart property. I'm going to expand that, and let's just do what I was doing there. I'm going to do copy. And to return. So let's do this as my holiday and calendar variables. Yep. To return. Paste that, and then just swap this skill out to be holes. Yeah, holes. And this is going to be based off my national holidays. So let's just change that new record to be national holidays. There it is. And then let's swap this out to be holes as well. Yeah, brilliant. So we've got that done. So I've set my variables. Let's just run, right click on app and run on start. And then let me just go through and rename everything as I've done before when I've duplicated something. Let's just rename this accordingly. So let me just do that. And there you go. I've renamed everything. Now, one of the things you'll notice when you're renaming stuff is it changes the order, and the order does impact the tab order. So what I'm going to do here is, again, just here, just move these here, just so they flow as far as the tab order is concerned. Same with here. I'm going to put the text input here on the gallery up above, and then have the save next. And the delete. Now this number priority, we don't need that any longer, so we're not confused. What I'm going to do is I'm just going to select these here, and I'm just going to change this to be holiday. Yeah, return. And then on this one, which is the priority, I'm going to make that, and again I'm going to make that do an asterisk and then put date, just so we know what's going there. And so first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to take this button here, and I need to change it. So I've changed the order of everything, but I'm also going to this here. I'm going to do right click on it, copy, and then I'm going to paste. Yeah, and again, just put it anywhere on here. So I've now got two of those buttons. Yeah, so this one, I'm going to change this to be my periods data. Yeah, and let me hit return on that one. This button here, edit mode, I've got this one, this data here, is I want it because I've got button add holes data, and then I've got button here. So let me just move that down so I don't get it confused with these up here. So we've got the button add holes. So that one is going to be, I'm just going to change the collection like I've done before, change that to holes. And we're going to pull that from our national holidays. Yeah, so that's fine. Then I'm going to take this one, which is button add periods data. I'm just going to change that one to be periods, and then I'm going to change that to be calendar periods as the source. Right, now when we look at this form as far as screen holes, yeah, and I look at the on visible, what I'm going to do is I'm going to take that, I'm going to do semicolon, do a return, and then I'm going to do select and do open bracket, and I'm going to do btn, and what I want is I want to add periods data there as well. Yeah, so when we first make that visible, it's going to load those two collections. So if I just shrink that down, and let's go off it, then go back on it, yeah, and I go to the variables and collections, and go to collections, we should have our periods. If I view table, so there's our periods, first change to 31st of December. If I cancel that, and if I look at my holes, I've also got a view table, and there's that one that I've loaded as far as New Year's Day. Excellent, so those are now loading. Wonderful. So let's now go back to my tree view. So on this gallery, I need to change the items to be holes collection, and I'm going to sort it based on my what did I call it? I can't remember what I call it now. So if we go to national holiday, that's it, bank holiday, that's the date. So I'm going to sort it on bank holiday. Yep. And then I'm going to shrink that down. Now obviously it's pulled up New Year's Day, which is fine, but this one here, obviously it's got a problem. And the reason why it's got a problem is that priority doesn't exist. So if I just extend that, so this one, I'm going to delete it, and it's gone. Then I'm going to go back to edit mode on the gallery. So I've got that selected, and I'm going to do insert input type, and I'm going to choose a date picker. Yeah, so let's just put this here, make it, I'm going to make the font size on the date picker, let's make that 25 like everything else. Let's make it a little bit. So again, the X property on this, let's give it a proper name. So I'm going to call it DP bank holes. Yep. Just do DP input as well. Return, and let's move that down just after the text input. And what I'm going to do on the X value, let's point that to our text input holes, yeah, dot X value plus text input holes dot width plus 1 for padding. Okay, and let's make the width here the same as the header. So that's going to be text, and that's going to be what shall I call it? I called it holes, and that's going to be, that's type. Let's just call that. I've called it type and name. That's not very informative, is it? So let's just do that for a second. Dot width. What I'm going to do is I'm going to rename that there, because I've obviously renaming. That is date, isn't it? And hit return. I'll say what I've done there is automatically pick that up. And then as far as the save button, I go to the X value on that, and let's just move that. Let's call that DP input bank holes dot X plus DP bank holes dot width plus 5. If I then, and that works now, so everything's moving the way it should. Let me just shrink that down, make that a little bit wider. Now, as far as this, what I'm going to do is, as far as the format, I'm going to go to the format property, and I'm going to put in here quotation marks, because I'm the UK. I'm going to DD for day, month, yeah, and then close the quotation marks, just as the format for that. As far as date, time, zone is local, I'm going to choose is editable on this property. So if we look at is editable there, I'm going to change that to a true, just so we can type in it as well as a user. And then as far as the selected date, I'm going to do this item bank holiday. And there you go, it's pulling it through. Wonderful. Right. That's now working. We've got the date in there. So that's the first of the first that we put in SharePoint. So that's pulling through. So now let's correct some of this so it patches correctly. Yeah. So let's go to the save button first, and let's do the on select. Let's expand that out. So we're doing a var lookup, so I want it to look for the date and the type to make sure that so what I'm going to do is I'm going to copy that and do control copy. No, in fact, let's just correct it first. So I'm going to do category. It's going to be holes. Yeah. Title, text put in holes value. That's going to be the same. Okay, now let's copy that. Control copy. And do return, do Control V. I'm going to call this var dupe2. Look up holes data where the, and let's do, and I want that to be, in fact, let's just do bank holiday equals dp bank home dot selected date. Yeah, and I'm looking for a dupe there in the collection. Yeah, and then what I'm saying here is blank. If that is blank, and all I'm going to do is just do a space, start typing and, select and then do is blank again, but then this is going to be var dupe2. In other words, that has to be true for both. And then let's do holes, change the collection to holes. This item title is going to be, that stays the same, but this one needs to change. So if I just do that and start typing bank holiday, there it is with a colon, and that's going to be dp holes dot selected date, and just say this here cannot have duplicate holiday dates. Yeah, yeah, and there you go. Holidays or dates. Duplicate holidays or dates not allowed. Right, there you go. So that should work. So it does the check and it makes sure we're not doing a blank against that. So yeah, let me just format that. And that all looks fine. Let's do the visible property. So the visible property, change that to holes. So we've done this many times now, so you should be pretty comfortable changing these variables. So let's go back to the holes delete, and there I'm just going to change that to create a collection called col holes delete, and then I'm going to do it and also remove it from the collection. Go back to the visible property, change that to holes, and there you go. So that seems to work as well. Right, let's just do a check. So we've done all these, and obviously you'll see all the errors have moved away from them. So now let's look at the new button, and again expand the bar. So that's going to be, let's swap these out. Change the collection. And again, the new record. And there. Let's do the visible property on that one as well, which is going to be that. And let's do holes. Let's do the undo button. Let's expand that. And again, that's, so it'll just reload it through that button, but let's just change the variable, the edit variable, to holes. Switches it. Yeah, and let's do the visible property. Wonderful. And while I'm thinking about it, did I change the gallery display mode to account for the, no I didn't. So let's change that to holes as well. There you go. Now let's do the edit. So the exit edit button, this dynamic button, and let's change all of this to cater for it. So we're going to do holes, and again we're doing these blank here. Yeah. So what we can do here is do holes, and I could duplicate that, but I won't. I mean, we could duplicate and say right and so it's checking both, but we know the error handling will, on the use error, it will do it, and also the save doesn't allow it either. So mandatory fields complete, and let's do patch categories. So that's going to be the, as you can tell, I'm thinking this through as I'm doing it. So this is very much holiday. No, it's national holidays. National holidays. That's what we're doing, and I'm updating the to holes. Again, make sure the ID is updated to a blank, and then categories. Again, we're removing. It's against national holidays, and we rename that collection to holes as well. Change is successful. This is where it'll pick up on the fact that holiday and date needs to be unique. That's fine, and then I need to reset my holes piece there. Yeah, and let's change the variable to holes. Let's make sure this works first. Yeah. And then what I'm going to do is, now I know that's all working, I'm just going to change this as well. I'm just going to add, I'm going to copy that and do Control copy and do yeah, and do return. I'm going to do Control V, yeah, and I'm just going to change that to bank holiday, so it's checking both. Yeah, and again format, and that seems to work fine. Let's just do a check on that one now then. So we've done a display mode, and we just save, and let's try adding one. So if I do play, let's do edit mode, let's do new, and let's do Good Friday. Let's just select the date. Let's go to March. So it was March the 28th. Yeah, save that. Okay, let's do another new one. Let's do Easter Monday. Monday. Let's try, and it's going to be the 31st. So I could just type in 31st/03/2025. That's where the editable is. If I say, oh no, didn't do that right, did I? So let's do 31/03/2025. Let's remove that one and do egg. So that's saved, and it's saying error needs to be unique. So obviously I'm going to take that check out, because I've obviously done something wrong there. Well, no, it's saved this one, it's the other one that it didn't work on. So let me just come out of that. Let's select this, and did I do is editable equals true? Yeah, so that should have worked. Strange. Let's do play. Let's do edit. Do new. Let's do Easter Monday. Select March. There it is. Save it. Yeah, and that's worked. Okay, strange. Anyway, so we've now got some dates in here. So let me go ahead and enter my bank holidays in here. So here we go. And there you go, all done. And if I exit that, it's saying please complete all mandatory fields. So I've obviously done something that's confused it with that check. So let's try and figure it out. So if I go come out of that, if I look at this and do a refresh, I've got those in there. So let's just go back to edit mode here, and if I look at that, yes, that shouldn't be title, should it? That should be begin bank holiday. I'm just going to get rid of that. And this, I don't want it to be and. I want to check both. So let's do or. Let's choose the or statement. So if that's blank, it finds that. Let's format that. Let's try doing that. Let's do a test. So save that and do play. If I do edit, let's do new. Let's do test. Save that and do exit. Please complete mandatory fields. Right, that worked. Let's do it the other way around. Let's do new. Let's choose a date here and do save and do, and again that's given me an error, and obviously you can see this is not changing here, and let's change that. So that's working now by the looks of things. So let's first of all go on to this, and what we're not done is on the text here, you need to change that as well. 2 holes. There you go. Get that done. So that, let's just try that now by adding something. So let's do new. Let's do early May bank holiday. Let's choose May. Let's do there. Let's do save. Let's exit. And that's save fine. There we go. So you just got to work with the code. So let me go ahead and add the rest of my bank holidays in here. Okay, and there you go. There's all my bank holidays added. Now, one of the things I want to be able to do on this as well is I want to be able to set the date range on my calendar period. So let's do that in next. Okay. So one thing just to note, I noticed I've made this error on this edit thing. So I've gone through and realised on all these screens here, I hadn't actually changed the text mode to switch based on the renamed variable. So I've gone through and fixed all those now as well. So let's get back to our hole. So what I want to do now is I'm going to expand this, and I'm going to select the hole's main, and I'm just going to shrink this down, yeah, down to there, and then I'm going to take these and I'm just going to move them down as well to, yeah, just because I'm going to put something at the top here. So this is going to be, let's put a label here to say let's call this in select screen, do insert, let's do a text. Let's move this down for a second, and I'm going to call this my my national holidays in the text. Let's make this bigger. Let's make the text, I'm going to make that 25, and I'm going to make it semi-bold. As far as the vertical alignment, I'm going to put that at the bottom. And let's put it in the middle as well. Center that like so. So we know that's the national holidays. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to put another container. I'm going to insert a container. Yeah. Let's put that there like that. And I'm going to add some controls to this. So I want input. I want another date picker. Let's copy that and do Control Copy and Control V. I'm also going to put a label. So let's take a label here. I'm going to put that as start. Yeah. Return. Let's make this 16. Let's make that semi-bold. Let's put the at the bottom. Let's take that and do. Let's copy this and do Control V. And let's put this over here and let's put finish. Yeah. As far as this is concerned, I'm going to make the format again. Let's make that day, month, year, quotation marks. Let's make sure this is, I'm going to do DP period start. Yeah. I'm going to make that, it's always good. I'm going to do label start period start. Let's take that one. Do LB label period finish. Let's take this one. Let's do DP period finish. And again, let's do the format on that. Let's make that day, month. Yeah. And again, just going to move that up from a tab perspective. So that's start. Also, I want to do is editable. Set that to true. Yeah. And set this one is editable. Set that to true as well. Okay. Now, as far as selected item, selected date, I'm going to use the first function. I'm going to do call period data, close that bracket, and then do dot start. And then this one, I am going to do selected item, selected date, sorry, and do again first, because there's only ever going to be one record in there. Call period data dot finish. So I've now got the dates in there. Should we make these a little bit bigger actually? Font size, let's make you 25. Let's make that. As far as size, height, let's make you 45. Again, make you font size, let's make you 25. And let's make the height 45 as well. Okay. Let's make this bigger as well, actually. Yeah. Right, now I'm getting this grey line here, so let's just make this let's make this size 40. Let's move you down. Yeah, let's make you 40. Let's move you down. There you go. That's better. Looks better. And also we've got this little this here. So what I'm going to do is change this header. Yeah. So I want to be able to write this back, and let's just take this container here. So let's just select it. I'm going to call this periods. Yeah. Is I want to be able to save this back to so I want to be able to undo it and so on, don't I? So let's put some buttons in here. So at the moment this is the period, so let's add a button. Let's do save. So let's just change that to save. Let's do an icon. Let's get that in there. Save. Let's take you. Let's rename you to be button period save. Yeah. And let's put you down to there below. because I'm not going to change it. And yeah, and then I can do one more. Let's do Control Copy, Control V. Yeah. Let's we take this. We take this. Let's just get this to write back. So what I'm going to do, as soon as someone makes a change here, I'm going to write it back to our collection. So on select at the moment, let's expand that. So on select, I want to write, I need to be able to know what ID here is. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to add another label here. I'm going to do, let's do insert a label. And this can be, this equals the text is going to be first call periods data dot ID. So I've got a 1 there. So I've got that 1. So I want to be able to find that record on SharePoint and then just write it. And then I want to reload the my button. So let's just do. So let's do that. So I'm going to go on select. Let's expand that. So I'm going to go for all. So my source is going to be calendar periods. Yeah. So I want to loop through all those. Yeah. And then I'm going to do a patch. Let's do a return. So I want to do it. Let's get rid of that there. So I want to do a patch. Yeah. On call calendar periods. I'm going to do a lookup where in calendar periods where the ID equals the value of the, what do I call it? I call it text. Canvas3 dot text. Should have named it. Didn't name it, did I? The value of that. So where it equals the value of that, I'm doing a lookup. Yeah. And if I close the bracket on that, do comma, and I do the squiggly line, I want the title to be my text input. What did I call it? No, not title. Silly. I want start to equal my DP in period start dot selected date, comma, and then I want finish to be my DP period finish dot selected date. If I close the squiggly lines on that, I then close the bracket on the patch and then close the bracket on for all. So it doesn't like something in there, does it? Let me just look at it, saying something's wrong. Selected date with the ID equals, so what's that? That is that. Let's just rename that. That's going to be text period ID. Yeah. Return. When I go to this, it's saying something's not right. So I go edit formula. It's saying it doesn't like that. That works, that works, that works. Tell you what, let's try changing this so it writes it to the collection. So let's just do col period data. Let's patch col period data. Let's not try writing it. Col period data. I'm doing a lookup where the col. I just want to test this first before period data. And now it's finding it okay. And if I do format that text, so let's just check that. Yeah. And if I then just go up like so, let's look at our col period view table. So I've got finished the 31st. So let's try changing that and see if we can do that. So if I do, let's just save, do play, let's change this to the 1st of December, yeah, and then do save. Let's close that down. Let's go to the period, view the table. Right, so we've got it changing the date. So now let's do it patching. Can I patch then? So on the on select, so let's do that, and then let's just do patch. Let's do calendar periods, and that's going to be col period data. Let's close that. Format that. Let's save it. Let's do play. Do save. Let's go to here and go to our calendar periods. And there you go, that's changed, so that's working. Right. So what we're going to do is if I then close this down and I'm going to make this visible property. Let's make you false. There you go. And let's just go, and on this, all I'm going to get it to do then is if I go on the on select, is I'm just going to get it to select the button period, this one here, and close, and it should then reload it. Yeah. And if I go like that, and let's just do a Save, play. Just take that back to the 31st. Save it. Ooh. It didn't like that, did it? So a minute, let's just go. Oh, it didn't like that, did it? Let's do select patch col periods data. Hold on a minute, let's just do something here. So when I do invisible, let's run and start. Yeah. And let's do play. So you are going to be the 31st. Save it. And that should be fine. Yeah, I just needed to reset because I hadn't reloaded the data from, yeah, because now if you look at this, periods, we got 31st. I didn't reload that the first time I made the change. So that's why that's now worked. And if I go to here, and let's refresh it, yeah, that's fine. If I go, let's go in here now and do play. And let's do the 17th, save it. Close that down. Refresh. There you go. So that's now working. And obviously what I'll do is we need to put an indication on how that is working. So the last thing we're going to do is to do some type of navigation, because we've got a lot of forms here, so we need to be able to navigate to these forms. And also I'm just going to, I think that I'm going to move a few things here around, put some labels on this just to make it look good. And then we'll look at doing some navigation so we can maneuver between these, yeah. So that'll be next. So that is where I will pause this video, and as I said, in the next video we'll start looking at our navigation, just to try and pull all this static data together and easily navigate between the forms, or enable our users to easily navigate between those forms. Anyway, I hope you enjoyed watching me figure that out as I was going along, warts and all. And if so, please remember to click that like, subscribe, and smash that notifications button for future content. And as always, I wish you an absolutely wonderful day wherever you are in the world. Please take care, and I look forward to seeing you in the next video from Change, Tips and Tools. Bye bye now.